This is the Retro Inc. podcast. Welcome back. Welcome back to Retro Inc. podcast with myself, Adam, and joining me today is the wonderful Jeremy. How are you, sir?
I'm well, thank you. And how are you?
Very well indeed. What a great episode the last one was with your good friend Steve, formerly of Talk Star Wars.
I will both of us to formally talk Star Wars.
Yeah, indeed. Yeah. It was a really great show. And on that show, we discussed Avatar in fairly deep detail. Along with everything else connected and in between, didn't we? It was great.
It was good to chat with him. He's an old friend of mine, probably my oldest friend, and we have a lot in common, and a lot of things that we very much disagree on. And
we did say, you did say that it'd be good to get him back on in the future to talk about a lot of movies from the 80s because he's a big fan of a lot of that stuff. And a lot of films that wouldn't be in our playlists, so that would be quite a bit of fun. Andy can't be with us today, can he? Unfortunately, because he's working late as usual. He works very hard. And we had such a lot of news to discuss from last week and over the weekend, and because of the special Avatar episode, we thought we'd do a little one for in between the week episodes, I suppose.
Well, give it a go, can't we? And it's not going to be the same without Andy here.
We're missing out on
to me, but we'll try our best. I could just be mean about Andy without him here, and it's much easier.
Indeed.
Yeah.
Well, let's just start with
down the pub.
Yeah, exactly. Let's just start with some of the Marvel news that's coming. Now, we're imminently going to be having the Captain Marvel trailer, which drops actually this evening. So we'll probably do a little recording on that. But in other news, there's another shocking move for the streaming service Netflix, which has cancelled the hit Marvel TV show Daredevil after 3 seasons. Obviously, this comes on hot on the heels of the not-so-super surprising cancellation of Iron Fist and the least successful of the Marvel series, that was, I think. And it followed by the surprising cancellation of Luke Cage. With Netflix giving Daredevil the axe, I think it's safe to say that something more than ratings or views went into these decisions. Launched 2015, Daredevil was the first of 5 Marvel Netflix series, which was intended as Marvel's outlet to explore somewhat darker and grittier TV show adaptations of their comic characters, as opposed to the broadcast shows like Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. and Agent Carter. Have you seen any of those, Jeremy?
I have actually. I loved the first season of Luke Cage. That was brilliant. I've binged that in a day.
Yeah.
I enjoyed that more than I enjoyed Daredevil. Daredevil was fine. Jessica Jones dragged a bit, but I watched it. The Defenders series, I quite enjoyed the Defenders program. Quite fun.
Yeah, I loved it. In fact, I've enjoyed them all. I think they just are what they are, and they're going to have.
I like the Punisher as well. To be fair, the Punisher
really
brutal,
gritty.
It's fun though.
But that's what you would expect from Punisher. But the thing is, what they did with Daredevil was they brought in a guy called Drew Goddard, from Cabin in the Woods fame, to write and run and direct the first season. But Goddard departed from the show before production began, when he was offered the opportunity to direct Sony's Sinister Six movie, which ironically never came to fruition. But he did lay out the story arc of the first season, which was overseen by Stephen DeKnight. And then Daredevil season 2 got in Doug Petrie, I think, and Marco Ramirez, and they took over the showrunners, and they introduced loads of more characters, i.e. Punisher, and and his ex-girlfriend, Elektra, came into it. But, season 3, which launched past October, came to quite, acclaim from fans and critics, if you like. And the new showrunner, Eric Olson, tweeted it on November the 16th that he'd just pitched Daredevil season 4 to Netflix, but now this news doesn't sound very good, that it won't be returning for a 4th season on Netflix. But whilst this series on Netflix has ended, the 3 existing seasons will remain on Netflix for years to come, while the Daredevil character will live in the future for projects from Marvel. So, as we know, in 2019, Disney is set to launch its proprietary streaming service, Disney Plus. Now, what do you reckon on that, mate? Do you think you'll be signing up for that?
I don't know if I'll sign up for it, because there's only so many streaming services that you can choose before you start spending far too much money. And I've got Amazon Prime, where I can find some weird old movies, which I enjoy. Netflix, which are, again, it's fun. It all depends on the cost and what you actually get with it.
Well, I would imagine this is going to be about £10 a month. I would have thought maybe $8.99, $9.99 a month. We're going to be getting Tom Hiddleston's Loki as that series. Obviously, we're going to be getting The Mandalorian. There's going to be a series, I think, of Falcon and Winter Soldier, potentially Scarlet Witch, which has also been rumoured.
Well, I mean, it's going to a lot of this depends on if I can watch it on the telly.
Yeah.
If I can use my Chrome, because I use Chromecast and that kind of thing. If I can get an app on the Xbox, if I can watch it through the telly, then it'll obviously be worth it. But if I can only see it on a tiny screen that fits in the palm of my hand, then I think you're going to lose the scope and the majesty of these things that they're going to be bringing to the screen. And there's pointless looking at it on a 4-inch screen.
You're right.
I'll have to wait for the box set.
Well, the only Marvel TV shows now on Netflix that haven't been cancelled at this point are Jessica Jones and The Punisher, but it feels like it's only a matter of time now. Jessica Jones Series 3 started filming this summer, and The Punisher Season 2 wrapped filming past August, so both are too far along at this point to axe entirely. But once those seasons debut in 2019, it's a good bet that the last you'll see these shows will be in the Netflix form.
But do you think there's any chance that they could just put it straight onto the Disney thing? Did you just buy the whole lot back?
I think what they've done is Netflix have bought these existing shows, so they'll continue to show them for years to come, but nothing more. So I reckon they'll get these ones done. They'll stay on Netflix as well, and Marvel will just carry on with the Star Wars franchise, I would have thought, and maybe bring Daredevil back at some point. But if it's going to be for this Disney service, is going to be predominantly for, I would say, PG-13 and less, I would have thought. Then maybe we'll get it on there. Who's to know? Sorry, mate. We lost your signal there a little bit.
Sorry.
Say it again.
We might bring them over and just tone down the violence a little bit and the swearing.
Yeah, I mean, it's possible, isn't it?
I mean, if they're doing a new, Deadpool movie for Christmas, where they've managed to make it, that kids can go and watch, yeah, I'm pretty sure that they could do the same for that on digital streaming service.
Well, that's a very good point, and I agree. I think it's entirely possible. I think they lose a lot of fans by making things of a higher certification where actually kids really enjoy. I mean, look, the Spider-Man film, what's that, 12A?
Mm-hmm.
You don't see kids running around in a Spider-Man outfit very much these days, do you? Or Batman, because those films are
They got very dark. Yeah, they got very dark.
I mean, great for us, but, really, these were always meant to be for children of a certain age.
I don't want to see the Avengers take too dark a tone, and I like them, if you want to see a dark kind of cartoon, go and watch a DC movie and get depressed for 2 hours. But the Marvel things that are uplifting, the Disney side of it, it's just, they're more fun. And I think that maybe if Daredevil doesn't have to be ultra violent, does it? And
really,
and
it could be very comic book like. I mean, he's a dark character, but it could be a lot more comic book like, couldn't it?
Exactly. You can make all of it. I mean, the first time I ever heard of Luke Cage or Iron Fist was watching the Avengers cartoons with Freddy.
Hmm.
So they can obviously make them cartoonish, and
Yeah.
they even had Dracula on it. So if they can make Dracula cartoonish and suitable for children, then there's no reason they can't do the same for Daredevil, Luke Cage, Iron Fist. Maybe not Jessica Jones because she is a bit naughty. But they can try.
Indeed. I mean, we had the TV show, the Spider-Man TV show in the 70s and early 80s. Obviously, we had
Yeah,
Batman 66 series, which went on for quite some time.
that only went
The
on for a
Lois and
couple of
Clark
years, didn't it?
series and that kind of stuff. I mean, we know this. It doesn't have to be all dark. I mean, I think older fans, um, like to reminisce about their youth, don't they? And
That's well and good, but older fans, our agent or whatever, I've got to realise these movies for the next generation of people. If you want to want to watch a dark movie, watch The Purge, or something like that. I mean, that's a dark movie. Watch a horror movie. Watch The Terminator. Now, watch something that's for grown-ups. You know,
there's plenty of choice out there, isn't there? Plenty of choice.
Yeah, I don't think they should keep making movies darker and darker because I think they're alienating the, a key part of their audience because also they're going to lose a fortune in toys. If the kids can't buy toys with things, then they're going to lose
Yes.
revenue from that. I imagine George
Yeah.
Lucas made more off the toys than he ever did off the
Oh, absolutely.
movies.
Yeah, and I mean, when we had Toys R Us stores around, you'd go in there and there was just pegs and pegs of Marvel Legend figures, which kids weren't looking at. They didn't know those characters, but if it was brought down a little bit, perhaps they would have created much more sales of Marvel toys for kids, and also price point. As we've said many a time, mate. A lot of these toys, like Marvel Legends, are like £22 for a figure.
Well,
It's
that's
not
just
pocket money,
ridiculous.
is it? It's not pocket
No,
money prices.
it's ridiculous, and you need to, the price of making these things hasn't gone up that much that you can't make a toy that a kid can afford.
A little bit more reasonable, yeah, yeah. I mean, I would say though, for the Marvel fans, I think we'd like to see a season 4 resurrected on the Disney Plus streaming service. We could even see that Daredevil might be rebooted as a character for the big screen. So we'll just wait and see what comes from that. Now, Blade Runner anime series is coming next year. It's going to be on the streaming service Crunchyroll, which I always thought was, quite fun. It sounds like something that you can buy in Greg's the Baker's. So whilst neither Blade Runner the movie has truly really moved the needle on box office returns, but the cult appeal is an expansive world of films has always led to plenty of interest in the continuing of the stories in other mediums such as the books and the comics, etc. Now there's going to be an animated series which is going to be premiering on US TV, and the show called Blade Runner Black Lotus has been commissioned from the anime streaming outlet, as I say, Crunchyroll. This is going to be a 13-episode initial series inspired by last year's amazing Blade Runner 2049. Now, I know this wasn't a film that really connected to you. You found it a little bit too
It was
long-winded.
dull and dishwater. It was really boring.
Yeah, well, I think this is the thing. If you like your sci-fi long and with a lot of immersive art in terms of cinematography and everything, well, Blade Runner 2049 is totally up my street. But it doesn't have a lot of crash bang wallop, does it?
But no, I don't necessarily always like films with crash bang wallop. One of my favourite films of all time is Stand By Me, and there's not a lot going on in that. It's some kids walking along a train track, but I love it. I love Hunt for the Wilder People. That was brilliant.
Yeah.
And it's not a lot going on in that. I watched the Walk in the Woods, the Bill Bryson movie with Nick Nolte and Robert Redford. That was great fun, and not a lot happens in it. It's not like I always need to see explosions and spaceships and monsters eating people and tentacles. I don't necessarily need that, but I just found it was a bit pretentious.
Right.
It was all look at what I can do, not enjoy what I do. It's like, oh, look, it's all lovely stuff happen on the screen, and all it's art, but art. art is a very subjective thing, isn't it?
Of
You know,
course it
you
is.
can look
Yeah.
you can look at Tracy Emin and everyone will be going, "Oh, that's wonderful art," and you go, "No, it's a bedroom.
There's some rubbish on it. Yeah.
It's not art." So you know, it's subjective. And it's just not an art form that appeals to me because I like to be entertained in some way.
I think for me it was just the receiving of the VHS from a friend of mine, and watched it and completely fell in love with it. So that would have been about 1985, 86, I would have thought. So it got to me fairly early on. Anyway, this new anime series, while the exact plot is obviously under wraps for now, the story will be set in 2032, a period between the two movies, and featuring some familiar figures from the movie universe. Solar Digital Arts, which produced the anime prequel to the latest entry, will handle the actual animation chores, while Aramaki and Kariyamayana, I think I pronounced that fairly well.
So you
Will
miss
tell the
that.
story
You
episodes.
miss Andy now doing the
I do.
pronunciation of
He's
difficult
really good
names
at some
for
of
you.
these. Yeah, he is. It's not known yet when the show will actually premiere, but it will also be available via the streaming service over here. One of the best, if not the best series of the year for me, though, which is in a kind of very much a sort of Blade Runner world, is Altered Carbon. Now, I know you watched, was it a couple of the episodes or one of the episodes?
I've pretty good.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm just in the first one so far.
Good. Well, I think you should carry on with it, because the first thing you learn about Altered Carbon is nothing is what it seems, and I like that. And that's actually the opening line of the first episode in Altered Carbon, and it couldn't really be more apt. It's true that, given the popularity of the sci-fi dystopian series and the trend for body-swapping stories, you might think that you know everything you need to know about this Netflix original from the trailers. But I thought I did anyway, and that didn't stop me from desperately wanting to watch it when I got the chance. And once you really get into it, it's got a very familiar feel like Westworld or Black Mirror or even The Expanse. But Altered Carbon is very much of its time in the sense that it's riding the wave of high quality sort of futurism. But don't let that sort of fool you into thinking that you've seen all this kind of stuff before, because it has some really inspiring parts in the film.
It's very similar in look and tone to that Upgrade movie they did.
Yeah.
It looks like, which was a great movie. I really enjoyed it. So
yeah, it really
I'm pretty sure I'll really enjoy it.
That's something. Upgrade is a really cracking film if you like that kind of this kind of thing. And this Altered Carbon is based on a cyberpunk sci-fi novel by the same name by Richard K. Morgan, who's known for writing Shutter Island and Terminator Genesis. Now,
one of which I really enjoyed,
which would be the Terminator Genesis, I'm presuming. Yeah.
Shutter Island was an awful movie. I really tried to enjoy it, but it was dreadful.
Well, one of the things that we liked quite a lot about, we both quite a lot about Upload. Was it called Upload? We were just talking about Upgrade. Sorry, is that sort of that chip that goes into the neck that turns you into something else? Well, you get that same kind of thing, don't you, with Altered Carbon? The sort of the
it's a very similar kind of thing.
Yeah. Which I really kind of like that idea. It's kind of almost sort of Avatar, it gives you some kind of different personality. It's a really good series.
There's also a lot of the Matrix in it where you can download, kung fu and things like that.
Yeah.
Only I enjoyed Upgrade more than the Matrix.
Well, I think for now though, there's plenty on that series for you to get into, and I hope you can give it its full attention for the whole of that.
I shall. I've got a few evenings to myself, or I shall give it a go.
Yeah, well, hopefully we can talk about it at some other point in time.
I'll try and get it. I'll try and get it watched this week.
Yeah, I would. I think you'd really enjoy it. Once again, we would, we talked about Avatar last night with your friend Steve, and we did mention in that the James Cameron story that one day or someday he'd like to end up blasting off into space to film something among the stars, as he has done before in the Solo submarine, where he went to sort of 7 miles down in ocean depths. Well, in fact, it's something that happened over a decade ago. In his Empire interview, that he talked about this. But in the Empire magazine 30th anniversary edition, he starts taking some questions from readers, and Cameron claimed he was planning to go to the International Space Station and shoot a movie with none other than Hollywood's other great daredevil, Tom Cruise. I'm wondering if that will ever take its course. But I can actually see that happening, can't you? It's very possible.
I don't know if insurance companies around the world all pulled together, they would be able to cover the premium on that. I just think that they wouldn't do it. They'd be like, no, they're just too scary. I mean, everyone says Tom Cruise does his own stunts. He does a few of his own stunts, but stuntmen are really underrated in movies, and I think that the risk involved to going to the international space, as much fun as the idea is, would be too much to,
Yeah.
And not only that, I'm not even sure that they do cost spacesuits that small. So.
Well, do you know what?
Andy's not here, so I can get away with that. Tom Cruise is tiny.
Well, I didn't think of that, actually. I didn't think of that at all. I watched The Martian this morning, and, quite frankly, you don't really need to go into space now, do you?
No, I've spoken to people about The Martian who are genuine, astrophysicists and stuff. The Martian is a complete load of tosh, but it's entertaining, it's good fun. It couldn't possibly happen as much as we'd like to think it could, but to be fair, nor could, Thanos clicking his finger and wiping out half the galaxy. And I'm quite happy to sit there and watch that. So I don't, I don't need to take things too literally, apart from the fact that Tom Cruise is too small to beat people up. I'm going to get as many digs in as I can while Andy's not here.
I was going to say, well, you've got to have a go. You've got to have a go while he's not here. But there was a slight rumour last week as well that we might be getting an old 80s actor from 40 Hours, old Nick Nolte, joining the cast for the upcoming Star Wars series. And it's now been confirmed that Nick Nolte has actually joined the cast of The Mandalorian, the live-action Star Wars series that will be launching on Disney streaming service Disney+. The known cast includes Pedro Pascal and Gina Carano, and the series is already in production. Is heavy on visual effects, costumes and makeup, which will allow the actors to come and go, as well as in some cases be cast later in the production process than usual. Jon Favreau wrote the series and is the executive producing along with Kathleen Kennedy, Colin Wilson, Dave Filoni. He's going to be directing some of the episodes, which will be great, as well as Taika Waititi, Bryce Dallas Howard, Rick Famuyiwa, and Deborah Chow. Really looking forward to this, mate, aren't you?
Anything with Nick Nolte good for me.
Yeah.
He's got a voice like he's gargling with gravel.
Well, he's a sort of.
He looks like a grumpy old so and so, and I don't think I've seen a movie with him in that I haven't enjoyed. So.
Yeah, he's been making movies.
In fact,
right
I
up to
mentioned
recently,
one earlier, didn't I? Yeah. Well, I mentioned A Walk in the Woods. I love Bill Brighton. He's a fantastic writer. But I really enjoyed the Walk in the Woods movie with Nick Nolte in it. I loved 40 Hours. 40 Hours was fantastic. It was just a classic. So, any movie in between then and now has been good. So, yeah, I'm Nick Nolte. He's going to be some grizzly veteran of some kind, isn't he?
Yeah, oh yeah.
Or an alien that you'll never see his face. But I think he's got such an emotive and expressive face. You need that, it looks like elephant testicles with hair. That's what he looks like. So that's the kind of thing you need on screen. You don't want to be covering that up and CGing over it.
Well, he does have the voice of someone who smokes 40 a day, doesn't he? At least that.
At least, yeah.
Yeah. Well, character details obviously are stuffed deep into the Sarlacc pit right now, but the company's synopsis is thus. After the stories of Jango and Boba Fett, another warrior emerges in the Star Wars universe. The Mandalorian is set after the fall of the Empire and before the emergence of the First Order. So we'll be following the travails of the lone gunfighter in the outer reaches of the galaxy, far from the authority of the New Republic. As you say, Nolte's credits range from 48 Hours to Down and Out in Beverly Hills to Mulholland Falls and to The Thin Red Line to Warrior and Gangster Squad. He most recently starred in the short-lived epic series Graves. Did you see any of those?
I've seen a lot of those. Warrior was an amazing movie. That's the first time I really saw Tom Hardy. Have you seen it?
I haven't seen it, no. But
you'd love it. You'd love it because you love a bit of a martial arts movie as well.
I do indeed, yeah.
Oh no, Warrior! It's really good. Really, really good.
I've just written that down.
Yeah, you'll love that. And it's going to go right up in your top 50 of movies straight away.
Well, I've just written that down, so I should be going to sort of hunt that down a bit later on.
The thing about The Mandalorian is in live action, we haven't ever seen The Mandalorian, have we? Because Boba Fett's not a Mandalorian. He's wearing the armor, but he's he's a clone. Yeah. So the Mandalorians themselves have not been depicted, as far as I know, in live action. Unless they're in Caravan of Courage or something.
It's definitely not in that. Nor are they in New York Adventure. So we are totally, in the Clone Wars area. And I think this is why it's going to be quite exciting, because we might even see the likes of Captain Rex popping up.
Yeah, there's no reason why not. Oh, I could do that, couldn't I? They need a large, bald-headed, bearded gentleman. I could be the man.
It's a possibility.
Well, if you're listening, Disney, give me a call.
Yeah,
I'm always up for a change.
Jeremy's available.
And there's no reason to think that they're not listening.
Oh, well, you never know, do you?
No.
Should we have a little talk about what's coming up in the near future in terms of movies? Because we've got quite a packed December, and then we've got obviously movies coming out next year, which are quite exciting. So let's just have a little rundown of a list of upcoming movies. We've got the Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse, the animated film, which is coming to the cinema. Have you seen any that have seen the trailer for this?
I've seen a load of trailers for it. It's obviously not aimed at me. I imagine I'm not even sure if Freddie wants to go and watch it. To be fair, I'm sure it's fun, but I don't think it's something I'd want to go to the cinema to watch. If it's on Netflix, I'll watch it. Streaming channel next year, but
it'll be on there actually, won't it? Now it won't be on Netflix. But this is the Miles Morales story, and that looks pretty good. I'm looking forward to that. We've got Aquaman, which is coming out on December the 21st, directed by James Wan. Are you going to be seeing this film?
Oh well, undoubtedly I'll see it because I have the card that makes me watch everything. I don't know how excited I am about it because, Aquaman sucks according to the Big Bang Theory, and they'd know more about him than me. The trailer looks like Star Wars Under the Sea. A lot of it with the swimmy monster things killing each other and lasers and all kinds of stuff. I just feel that I've seen most of the film in the trailer.
Yeah, we did have a 5-minute one, didn't we?
Yeah, and it kind of hasn't left a lot to the imagination. So I think there's too much of that. I mean, it's gone from one extreme to the other. You had Han Solo, where they kind of went at the last minute. Oh, look, here's Han Solo. Here he is. And then with this one, it's like in a few months, there's going to be a movie. And in a couple more months, there's going to be. And here is a massive part of the movie. And then we do another trailer where there's even more of the movie. Oh, look, he's fun. He can jump over an airplane. There just seems to be too much of that. They need somewhere in the middle. I think when you've watched half the movie already, it's just kind of think, I'm not really excited about it now. If it was a teaser, I'd be more excited. I mean, yes, I'm going to watch it, and I dare say I'll really enjoy it. I enjoyed Venom a lot more than I expected to.
Yeah, I did as well. I thought it was really good. I think the great thing about this is it's got a really good cast with obviously Jason Momoa, Amber Heard, Patrick Wilson, Nicole Kidman, and Dolph Lundgren. And what we know so far is that this film is going to be pretty much about the antagonist, which is Aquaman's half-brother Orm, who aims to wage a war on the surface dwellers. So looking forward to that. We've got Once Upon a Deadpool, which is out also on December the 21st, going head-to-head against Aquaman. Well,
obviously I'd
came out
rather
of
watch
nowhere
Deadpool than Aquaman.
Sorry?
No, sorry, I spoke over you. Sorry, what was that?
Yeah, I think I'm personally, looking forward to going and seeing this cut. I think this will be really, really interesting to see what extras are in it. And I'm sure he's done a lot more voiceovers and various bits that are going to be hilariously funny for us, because we can probably already know the jokes, and so there'll be a child's version of it. So I think that'll be really cool.
That looked tremendous, and I think that's going to be the surprise hit of Christmas.
Yeah,
I think, although it's the re-release, and people are going to be thinking, I think that's going to be amazing, and I'm really looking forward to the fact that I'll be able to take Freddie, maybe even Alana, to the cinema to watch it, and just be able to enjoy Deadpool with my son without the other aspects that would freak him out a little bit.
Well, this is going to be a PG cut, PG-13 cut of Deadpool 2.
Yeah.
With a friend story involving Deadpool reading the story of Deadpool 2 to Fred Savage, Princess Bride style, except with all the violence and the cursing removed. So it looks great. Yeah. March the 8th next year, the big one, Captain Marvel, which I'll definitely be going to go and see. That trailer, as we know, is going to be dropping this evening at some point. So
I imagine Andy would do a midnight showing of that, and I may well join him.
Yeah.
I'd really enjoy it. I'm really looking forward.
I will definitely be doing the same. I'm absolutely certain. And obviously, this is going to be a prequel to the next Avengers 4.
Yeah.
We've got in April the 5th, we have the Shazam movie.
That looks fun as well.
It looks great, doesn't it?
Yeah. I wasn't sure about that, and then the first trailer dropped, and I was like, actually, yeah, I'm really up for that.
So Zachary Levi is the title superhero character, with Asher Angel playing his boy counterpart Billy Batson. The story revolves around a young boy who can transform into a powerful superhero simply by uttering the word Shazam. Mark Strong, Andy's favourite, is playing the film's villain Dr. Thaddeus Sivana. We have the Hellboy reboot in April as well. That's April 12th of 2019, directed by Neil Marshall, and stars David Harbour, Ian McShane, and Mila Jovovich.
Well, it's got a hell of a cast.
It's got a hell of a cast.
I like Neil Marshall. If I'm honest, I'm disappointed we didn't get a third Ron Perlman one. If we're going to have Hellboy, why not do another Ron Perlman? Because he would. Well, the first one was fantastic. The second one wasn't quite good. The first one was absolutely fantastic. So.
Well, the great thing about this is that it's been written, or the story's been written by Mike Mignola, the actual creator of Hellboy, for this reboot, as opposed to moving forward with the third film in the Del Toro established franchise. David Harbour, as we know, is from Stranger Things. He fills the role out of the titular character for director Neil Marshall, who helmed The Descent, which is a great film. He did a couple of standout.
He did Dog Soldiers as well, didn't he?
Yeah, he did. Yeah. And he did a couple of Game of Thrones episodes. So yeah, this is very exciting. I'm really looking forward to that. And then we have the Untitled Avengers sequel, which is on May the 3rd.
There's another Avengers movie coming.
Indeed, we do.
No one's mentioned that.
Indeed, we have. Back in June of next year, we have Dark Phoenix. This is going to be starring Sophie Turner, from Game of Thrones fan. And as we know, so far, the sequel to X-Men Apocalypse has been filmed up to Dark Phoenix, which will tackle the beloved Jean Grey story arc from the comics that was first broached and botched by the X-Men The Last Stand. X-Men writer-producer Simon Kinberg has penned the script, making his directorial debut on the project. Fancy that?
I'll watch it, I imagine. There's nothing about that that's appealed to me yet.
I think the X-Men franchise has completely bombed me out, I think. For all the toing and froing, backwards and forwards, I just wish they'd kind of, I don't know.
Yeah, see, for a fan of time travel and Doctor Who and stuff like that,
yeah,
there's a lot of timey-wimey stuff going on in the X-Men movies that I wasn't too sure about.
Yeah. I couldn't quite
if they
work
just rebooted
out
it and didn't overlap them
as well. Did
you?
It just, I was like, where does this fit into it? I couldn't quite work that out. I think they've kind of thrown a lot of fans off.
I really enjoyed Logan. Logan was a really, really good movie.
Film.
Only made possible by Deadpool being a grown-up cartoon. But again, I kind of wish they would do a kids version, because the children have seen all the other ones and go, oh, there's another X-Men movie. It's got Logan in it. And you go, well, you can watch that in 15 years' time. You know.
Well, in July the 5th, your son can go and see Spider-Man Far From Home. Again, starring Tom Holland.
If I take him, I'm going to go. I might not bring him.
Yeah, I'm definitely going to be seeing this. And again, this is probably another midnight showing for myself.
I think he is my favourite Spider-Man.
Yeah.
I think the Spider-Man actors have got better. I wasn't a massive fan of Tobey Maguire. Andrew Garfield was good, at least in the first one. But I think that Tom Holland, he is Spider-Man. I mean, it's exactly the way Spider-Man would have been as a school kid. But he's got the physicality to go with it. And cheeky. I thought it was brilliant. I loved it.
I agree. I
definitely looking forward to that.
Yeah, same here. August of next year, we've got the New Mutants, which is going to be starring Maisie Williams from Game of Thrones, and is going to be hopefully starring as well James McAvoy, who's been rumoured to be reprising his role as Professor X in the film. So more X-Men mutancy stuff going on there. Then
but again, I think the same with Dark Phoenix. I'm not really bothered one way. Maisie Williams is fantastic. She was a standout in Game of Thrones, and she was in a good episode of Doctor Who as well. But I'm just not inspired by any of these new X-Men movies. I think that it would have been a good way to finish off with Logan and then give it a few years and then stick him in an Avengers movie. Just reboot completely and start all over again. But
well, kind of talking a reboot, in October of next year we have Joker, starring Joaquin Phoenix, and Robert De Niro also starring. What we know so far about this film is a weird one. In the wake of Batman vs Superman and Suicide Squad, with Wonder Woman proving to be a massive success, Warner Brothers began changing up its plans for the DCEU, and one idea is to kickstart a new arm at Warner Brothers that will develop and produce a one-off DC comic adaptation, not exactly connecting to the DC extended universe. So that means that filmmakers can come in and try something really radical, and this film looks like that. This one is directed by the guy who did The Hangover and War Dogs. This is filmmaker Todd Phillips, who's also co-writing the script with the fighter scribe Scott Silver. So this is really for us adults, this one, isn't it?
Yeah, I couldn't stand The Hangover. I thought the Hangover movies were absolute rubbish. There was nothing about the Hangover movies I enjoyed. So that put me off this movie even more. I kind of don't understand why, when 2 years ago they had a Joker to do a completely new incarnation of the Joker, it's just going to confuse people. It confused me already. I don't know why he's there.
Yeah. Well, I just think this is a bit like an anthology film, I think, like we've had with Rogue One and Solo, I suppose. It's just sort of just throwing it out there. What if Joker was like this and came from this particular background? So it'll be interesting. I'm certainly going to look out for it. And
but the thing that about Rogue One and Solo is at least they're established characters and part of the same universe. This is nothing like the Joker who was in Suicide Squad. It can't. I don't even think they're going to pretend it's the same character.
No. I don't think it's
So
anything to do with that at all. Yeah, it's completely.
So is this more like Catwoman, where you go, there's been lots of Catwoman, well, there's also been loads of Jokers.
I think this is
really
going to be,
understand.
seeing how he was a very disturbed youngster and trials and tribulations of growing up and creating the monster that is the Joker that we've not really seen. We've seen glimpses of it, but not really seen a kind of a backstory. And I think this is where it's going to go. Quite an indie film.
I think half the fun about The Dark Knight is him constantly saying, "Do you know I got these scars?" and never actually knowing.
That's right.
You don't need to know everyone's backstory. Because where do they finish? Let's have an Alfred backstory as well. How did he get into the service of the White? I'm fascinated. I should know that. And all these, there's so many other characters. You don't need a backstory for everyone. Why can't they just be crazy? You don't need to see disturbing things that happened to him as a kid because it's just not needed. That's just me.
Couple more little movies. We've got Birds of Prey, which is going to be starring Margot Robbie. We've got Gambit, another Marvel movie, which is sort of looking towards the sort of March 13th of 2020, starring Channing Tatum. And then, of course, whether we ever see another Doctor Strange film or a Black Widow or a Guardians of the Galaxy 3. We've got Wonder Woman coming as well, 1984. That's June 5th, 2020. That's been pushed back. And, that's pretty much it for the MCU. We do have that Battle Angel Alita coming, which I don't know about you, mate. I'm quite excited to see that.
Yeah, see, initially the trailer didn't do much for me, but then when she started kicking some butt, I was like, oh, actually, yeah, I'm right up for that. So
it looks good.
It looks fun.
What have you got planned to watch for this week? Then have you watched anything today?
I'm going to watch Altered Carbon, obviously.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I haven't. No, I've been at work today, so I've not really had a chance to come back and cook dinner, and now we're doing this. So
yeah.
There was. What was it I was going to watch? Can't remember now. I want to watch Moon. Because I know you've told me to, and I've been recommended it again.
Be patient. Be patient with it. It's not action packed at all. It does have
again. I don't need action packed.
But I think I think you'll like. I hope you like it. I think you'll really like it. It's very endearing.
I think Sam Rockwell he's a funny one because sometimes I really like him, and other times he annoys me. I mean, he was in that 3 Billboards movie this year, and that has to be in my top 10 movies of the year. It was fantastic. But there's other things I've seen him in, I kind of go, eh.
So
I think that's why I didn't watch it. I think I just didn't watch it because I thought it's just got him in it, and I'm not sure that I like him that much. Maybe you should. I don't know.
Do please give it a go because I really would love to hear your.
Have you watched Forrest Gump yet?
No, I haven't found a way of watching it.
I've got the DVD. I'll send it to you.
Have you seen Ex Machina?
Yes, I have. Yes.
Did you like that?
Yeah, I enjoyed that. Yeah.
Well, I think Moon might still be. I mean, okay, it's not similar.
But Ex
Machina,
it was very, very Black Mirror, wasn't it?
Yeah.
And Black Mirror was a great series. I've enjoyed all of those. So very similar to that, I felt.
Well, I hope you enjoy it. So, films of this year that you would put in your sort of top 3 that you've seen this year. What's been the standout stuff? I mean, even old movies that you've revisited and thought, oh, that's such a great film. Doesn't have to be a new movie.
There's too many. I watched Jaws the other day, and if I'm going to talk about my favourite movies I've watched this year, Jaws would be in my top 5, just because it always is. New movies this year, obviously you've got Solo and Infinity War were both incredible movies. I've been thinking about this. I'm going to have to figure out all the new movies I've watched this year and try and do a top 10 of movies I've seen.
Well, one of the things that we're going to be doing before the end of the year, after the Christmas, is we'll be going through the films of this year and our standouts. Christmas shopping. Have you done anything yet? Have you started anything yet? Have you been looking at your toys?
I'm much later with the Christmas shopping than usual. I'm normally finished by, mid-October, and I've not finished yet. Because I think my children are at an age where Freddie the other day said he didn't want an Xbox. We had the whole thing about, right, we're going to get him an Xbox, and he's like, I don't want one. So,
Well,
I'm glad I didn't get that, and he's back to square one.
I think he does, and I think the thing is, as we both know, he doesn't want to make a fuss too much.
Oh no, you haven't seen the list of things he does want.
Oh, right. So he wants a list of lots of little things. He wants some Lego.
Well, do you remember when we went down to Brighton last?
Yes.
And in the case in one of the shops, there was a life-size face hugger.
Yes,
for like
there was.
£100.
Yeah.
That is what he wants for Christmas.
Right, okay.
That is the kind of child I am dealing with.
Okay. And some Predator figures by NECA.
And some NECA Predator figures. He sent me loads that he'd looked at on eBay. And I need this one and that one and all of this. He's just obsessed with it. And that's just it's all he wants. All these Alien and Predator figures. And some books. And my daughter wants a gymnastics beam so she can obviously break her ankle and I can take her to the hospital on Boxing Day. That'll be fun.
Yeah, my daughter's wants dance clothes and vouchers for H&M and Primark. Jake, though, I've got he's really into his Nintendo Switch, so he's got a couple of games for that. He loves Overwatch on the Xbox, so he's got some merch for that. But these ages that they're at now, I mean, our kids are give or take pretty similar ages. When you're thinking about when we were 12, 13, I was buying Star Wars figures. I was buying Star Wars. I was getting Star Wars ships and vehicles.
Mine would have been Star Wars figures and computer games for the VIC-20.
Yeah.
At that age, I mean, Freddie's 9, so I was just about Star Wars figures by then. But I don't think that children are children as long as they were when we were children. They don't play with their figures and stuff as much as we did. I think there's too many other distractions. They can sit there and look at slime on YouTube and people playing. Rather than playing games, they watch other people play games.
That's exactly it. Yeah. My son watches PewDiePie and various other YouTubers playing games, which is, it's just their thing.
But then again, it's something we should do one of these days.
Well, we might well do a Twitch or something like that. But
yes.
I mean, I picked up some figures today. I had a little bit of time. Could you? I think you might have seen the message. I'm always on the hunt for vintage figures. I'm on the hunt for some Corgi or Dinky toys. I'm still after Buck Rogers' Starfire and an Eagle from Space 1999. I'm always looking around junk shops.
Oh, I had one of them as well.
Yeah, so did I. And it all ended up in a cardboard box and ended up in my grandmother's garage, and everything just got rusty and rotted away. And I
even had the Blake 7 one. That was a brilliant shot.
Yeah. I had that too, but it was very small. I think that was Matchbox that made that.
Yeah, they were. Yeah. They were lovely though.
They're really cool, and so I'm always on the hunt of trying to find those. But Star Wars vintage figures, I can never have enough. They're, it's always nice when you find a little box and you go, what's in there? And there's these like little plastic bags with some vintage figures, and I picked up some cracking figures today. And actually, these were so good that they replaced those that were in my cabinet. So. When you think you've got a very minty figure and then you think, hang on, this one's even better than the one I've got. And I spent ages looking at the Q, which is the country of origin on the back of the leg of each figure. and then checking them over and going, no, I've actually picked up today 3 figures that were better than the ones that I had in my cabinet. And what I mean by that is that they've got no blemishes, there's no nose rubs, there's no paint missing, their arms and legs are really stiff. And I was really surprised. I got them for £1 each. I got an A-wing pilot, I got B-wing pilot, I got Rees, I got Requay, I got a Rebel soldier, I got a wicked R2-D2 with sensor scope, and a few others. I can't remember what else I got, but I got a few others. But I was really chuffed with what I think. Oh, a couple of Gamorrean guards.
Oh, you can't go wrong with them. Do you ever wonder how the paint rubs happen? What people have been rubbing these things on?
No, I don't. No, I don't even want to go there. But the first thing I do is when I get them back, I give them all a really good wash. I got the toothbrush and some very soft detergent. I give them a really good clean, and I give them a really good drying off.
People put them in their jewellery cleaner, don't they? They say they're really good.
Well, they do, but I still think it's a little bit harsh for what is essentially a toy that's 40 years old.
Mm.
I certainly do not approve of hydrogen peroxide whitening. I'd rather buy another Hoth Wampa who's gone a bit sort of smoker's white than dipping them into peroxide and not know how that's going to deteriorate the plastic. I don't do repro weapons, so again, I'd rather buy a figure without any weapons than think, well, perhaps this is a reproduction one. But I'm always looking for figures so I can add to dioramas and put them on Tauntauns. I've got 4 Tauntauns, and so it's quite cool if you find some Hoth Troopers. You can stick them in there. You can never have enough Stormtroopers, can you? Never have enough of those.
No, there's some like Sand People and Ewoks, and well, maybe not so much Ewoks, but any amount of Imperial are good. Stormtroopers, Viking Scouts, Hoth Troopers, TIE Fighter pilots, all of those, they're all good.
What I've done with mine is that every vehicle that I've got in their box has the figures in. So, for example, I've got a box snow speeder. It's got two pilots in that. I've got 2 AT-ATs that both got AT-AT drivers in them.
Are they in the box though?
Yeah.
I've got one the object of them.
I've got an AT-AT on display, and I've got one in the box. And I fill them with snow troopers and AT-AT drivers. All my mini rigs have the figure that should go in them, and of course I put a figure inside the vehicle and then put that back in the box. I have a few loose vehicles out, but mostly box.
I think the vehicles look better out of the box, and
yeah, they do take up quite a bit of space, mate, and that's the problem that I do have. I'm a little bit limited.
Well, that's what mine are all sitting in a garage. Probably have mice living in them by now, but
Well, the thing is, it's you do want something that's tangible that you can just pick up and play with. It's really great putting the batteries in the Darth Vader TIE Fighter and pressing that button so it makes that lovely sound, great in motor sound and the light working. I'm always testing them out, making sure they haven't seized up.
I still would love an Imperial Troop Transporter. That was always my favourite.
Well, I have one here actually, right next to me, and it's so funny because for a long time I just thought there was something wrong with it, and then I forgot that when you take the rear door down, there's a little switch that turns it to a slower speed, a slower speed or a faster speed. So when you're pressing the buttons for the voices and sound effects, this little switch changed the tone, the tempo of the voice and the tone of the voice. And I gave my Dagobah playset a little clean the other day. I gave that a really good clean, and found some foam, because the foam was obviously really deteriorated. So I put that in a little plastic bag and cut some foam to size, and then dyed it a dark brown using some Dylon, and it's come out almost identical to what I had.
Is that not in some way repro?
Well, of course, yeah, of course. But the thing is, if my inherited children, who I'm going to pass this down to, decide to pass it on, then that's the only issue, isn't it? But as far as I'm concerned, it's in my collection, and none of it's ever going to be sold. I used to get asked this all the time. You selling anything? And it's like, well, I would never sell anything that's from that period of time, from 77 to 85.
I wouldn't sell any. I've given things away because I think that, if I've got a duplicate of something, gave quite a few bits to Mark Godsiff because he was starting off his, vintage collection, and I had a few little bits and pieces, and I'd rather, if they're spare, give them to someone I know would appreciate them rather than sell them to someone who's going to try and make a profit.
I agree. I mean, the next time I come up and we can meet Andy, is that I've got a load of stuff to give to him in terms of figures. And to be fair, I was actually a little bit skint at the time, so and Mark insisted that he did pay for these figures. So, but I would have given them to him. Of course, I would have done. But he insisted.
Well, mine were just beaten. I think I had a spare Chewie and a spare C-3PO and a spare something else. I think I gave him. I might give him an Anakin. I gave him a last 17 because I had a spare one of them.
Yeah, he had a lot of me. But it's such a great thing to not just look for Star Wars figures. I'm always looking for a He-Man and a Skeletor in good condition. There's quite a few figures that I'd actually like in my vintage collection that I don't.
I would like the He-Man because I had a lot of the He-Man figures. I never had a Castle Grayskull. One of these days, I'm sure I will own one of them. I can feel it in my loins that they're coming to me one day.
Yeah, there's a few of these things that you think, I kind of missed the boat on that. But as a vintage and retro toy collector, there's a few things that I really do need in my collection just to say I've got them.
There's so many. It's hard, but like when we go around the vintage places together, it's hard not to just go, oh wow, look, and think you need all of it, but you have to draw the line at some point. I look at the old looking annuals when we're out. I used to love Looking magazine, but I thought, I can't. I've got nowhere to put them at the moment.
Well, one of the regrets that last time I saw you and you came down to Brighton and we were looking around a lot of the old vintage shops was I left behind that Battlestar Galactica annual. And I pulled that out, didn't I? And I said, it's only £3. And I put it back. I couldn't believe I did that.
Have you been back since or not?
I haven't been back since. I don't think I'll be going there for a good before Christmas, unfortunately. And I very much doubt anyone's pulled it out and bought that. But that was a bit of a regret. And I've thought about that so many times thinking, damn, should have picked that up. What I would have done with it, it just would have gone into my collection. But, it's not something that I need. But there are a lot of those stinking Corgi vehicles that, like we were saying about Roger's Starship. I would love to get another Lotus Esprit, the white Esprit from.
Yeah, I had one of them.
Was it the Spy Who Loved Me? Was it?
Yeah.
I've seen a couple of guys on eBay selling the missiles, so it shouldn't be a problem, finishing and completing that. And the Batmobile by Corgi, often they're missing one or both of the figures from the Batmobile, and they're often very, very scratched.
Again, I have one of those as well.
Yeah, well, mine is fairly beaten because obviously it's my childhood toy. And actually, what I remember this very, distinctively was I went to Malta for a holiday and I took the Batcopter, the Batboat, and the Batmobile. And there was this kid there who was desperate to do a swap with me. And I said, no, I don't want to do a swap. But what he wanted to swap the Batboat for was a $6 million man figure. Do you remember that?
Yeah, he used to be able to roll up the skin on his arm and stuff.
Yeah, he was desperate to swap that with me, and I was like, I don't really think I want to get rid of my Batboat. And what little did I know that actually the following Christmas or birthday, I got one, and I absolutely loved my Steve Austin. He was
I loved. Was Lee Majors? Lee Majors is great. I like the Fall Guy even more than I like the $6 Million Man.
Yeah, that was a little bit more exciting, wasn't it? Did you ever have the Evel Knievel stunt bike and gyro?
My brother did. I didn't, but my brother did. It was a bit of a one-trick pony, really, wasn't it?
Yeah, I've still got my Evel Knievel, but lack of bike now, unfortunately. So there's something else that I keep thinking. I wouldn't mind picking one of those up just for retro's sake.
Does he still in that riding the bike position?
Yeah.
Does he look like he's twerking?
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah, he's very bendy, and he's got all of his stars and stripe decals on the front, and he's got his helmet. But lack of bike and gyro, I don't know where those went. But again, that's something else that I just think I've got to get that one of those. I've got this heap of list of sort of childhood toys that have disappeared over the years that I'd love to get back in my collection. Sad to say that they wouldn't be actually my toy from my childhood, but nevertheless, it'd be great to get back in there. And this is the thing, I think, when you get asked, what would you like for Christmas? It'd be very hard to sort of say to your other half, oh, I would love a Bucklogging Starfighter.
You can say it, you won't get it.
I wouldn't get it. Yeah, exactly. Well, mate, we covered a lot of this week's news. The Captain Marvel trailer will drop probably overnight, so we'll hook up and talk about that some next time. Thanks very much for listening. Thanks, Jeremy, for this little podcast.
Thank you, and sorry that Andy couldn't be with us this week.
Indeed.
But,
sadly,
he loves Tom Cruise, so what does he know?
I'm sure he'd finish the recording by saying, "Be seeing you."
Yes.
Well, thanks very much for listening, and we'll speak to you next time. You've been listening to Retro Inc. podcast, a member of the Star Wars Commonwealth Network. Thanks very much for listening, guys, and speak to you next time.
Bye.